I'd like to call this to order for Monday, the 21st of August. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public input. I see we have none today. Correspondence. I gave you guys an article that I found this morning in Governing Magazine. One of many articles I've seen in the past couple of years about the aging infrastructure of waterworks in the United States. There's some interesting stats and figures here that I thought you might like to read. And then there wasn't anything else, was there, Kathy?
No, that was it.
Okay. First order of business then is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 7th, 2017.
Make a motion we approve the minutes of August 7th as submitted.
Second.
Okay, any discussion, any comments, changes? Yes,
I have a
Marty?
question. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know. I noticed that one of Wright Pierce's invoices, number 10, the Briarcliff Manor, is for $9,500, which was approved, and it says 100% as of June 30th, 2017. And then on today's invoice, Briarcliff is back on. I don't know if it's the same thing or not, but it's for $10,400, and it says that there's 99.12% as of July 28th.
Yeah, this is probably a new invoice related to the services.
Yeah,
We have
that's
to
what
do
I'm
the
saying,
services,
probably
yeah.
just, it's got the same
Yep.
title, that's why I was
Yep.
asking.
Did you have, okay.
Yeah, this is
Right.
related to the bidding and, additional services, what we did for additional services, for the service services, so.
Okay. All right, well, maybe we can find a way to delineate those projects in the future. Okay. Anything else?
So really, the project isn't complete, 99.12.
Well, it's complete now, yeah, the project is complete. It should be 100% as of today if the commission approves it.
99 something.
Oh, so that was as of last month, right? That was as of July. Because the invoices, I think, if you look at the
It was for July
invoice.
28th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
July 28th, yeah.
Okay, so it's not 100%, it's 99.12.
91.12,
So somebody in the office rounded up on the last. Okay, so we'll make a note of that. Anything else? Right, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, so carries. Financials, we're gonna table that for now because Mr. Kozlowski cannot be here tonight. So we'll get a full report at the next meeting. Item number 2 under that heading is the invoices for PUC approval dated regular meeting August 21, 2017. So to get this going, I'll put a motion on the floor to approve same for $45,393.79.
Second.
Okay? Any discussion?
Are we getting feedback from Weston and Sampson? They're sending bills in, and have you been in contact with
I
them
haven't been.
about any results that they're finding?
Weston Sampson, they've effectively completed their report to the town. They're not proposing to go back and do a capital improvement plan. They met with myself and Kelly a couple of weeks ago. We're still reviewing their proposal. That they're proposing to come back and do a capital improvement plan to effectively encapsulate what they found and put together a strategic operational plan to go investigate further.
Don't you think that should be presented to us? Because all we've got now is just
Correct.
strictly a bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they should be, there's no more bills should be coming in. It should be for work that's done previously. But we're at a junction now that their proposal will set in tone future work going forward.
But we need a summation of what.
Yeah.
What they've done.
We'll make a
Yeah, what-
do a presentation on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, like that presentation could wrap in or bridge what they've done and into the
And
future.
into the future.
And that's kind of where we're at. They came and talked to Kelly and I've got some probably comments to them regarding how they structured their proposal going forward. But yeah, we're at that point where they can come in and then also propose what the next steps are.
Okay,
Next meeting or?
Yeah, what's the date of the next meeting?
Well,
see
it's
if that-
September, so the first meeting of the month. We
Yeah.
won't have a meeting because it's Labor Day. So there's only the one,
Yeah, so next-
September
next-
18th.
Don't we slide a week?
Well, we usually, because it falls on a Monday, we just skip it and I put it at the bottom. If you have to do a special, you can, but the next scheduled meeting is September 18th.
we can do a special meeting if you want.
I think we should, because we're gonna be talking about what we're gonna do in the future and what kind of monies are involved. So I honestly think so. I'd like to get an in-depth review of what they have found, because right now,
And their proposal for the future.
yeah,
All right, we'll do an email survey, find out what people are available and set something up, no problem. Okay, anything else? Anything else under invoices due? You guys ready to vote? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve in the amount of $45,393.79. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Director's report. Doug, what else is going on?
We're still in the midst of a lot of projects, although they're all pretty much wrapping up. We still have some final improvements to make on the Beach Street project over there. The contractor has a couple things to correct before that one is 100% complete. Right here,
Can you tell us what needs to be done?
they installed the pipe under the stream. They didn't restore the embankments to our to the original specifications. They put riprap, effectually, which has impacted the stream. They need to move those stones out of there and kind of restore what was there previously, which was more of a block wall, forming a more of a rectangular cross section. Right now, it's like a V. It would definitely cause some hydraulic issues backing up through there. So we're having them correct that. Other than that, they did a wonderful job cleaning up the area. Unfortunately, I can't see how they're going to, not disrupt some of those areas that they just finished with some planting or some seed. But
We have to reseed it.
You have to reseed it
yeah,
again.
we see it again. So.
And it's true that the sidewalk and paving has to wait till next season, right?
Yeah, Matt, we were hoping to be able to pave and especially do the sidewalk, but having reviewed that section with Burns and if you actually go up there, there's actually a significant, I think it's a gas boosting station on Beach Street tucked away over there. There's just too many cross pipe connections that will lead to premature settling if we go out and do a sidewalk this year. It's definitely in the best interest of the town to wait until after we go through a freeze-thaw cycle.
Okay.
The temporary sidewalk, it's done in asphalt. I mean, it's not a concrete finish, but I think it should serve adequately well until we're able to get out there with a permanent fix.
Probably better than the concrete that used to be there.
I believe so. I think it is.
So next season, right?
Other things of note, Wright Pierce continues to work on the development plans or the data collection that's required to continue to keep the third well field or the new location, the new well field location moving forward. We hope to, I think, complete our data collection sometime this fall. Be meeting with with DEEP over the winter time to move that project forward. So, that's moving in pretty good accord. We hope to, make some significant progress over the next 12 to 18 months towards getting our next underground, well field established. Other projects, and also still working on Hoyts Hill Pump Station. Might be some issues to discuss there, but every day they're chipping away, and we're still waiting to get an updated schedule from them. But at this point, nothing more to report.
No change orders?
I mean, I can't say that, I mean, there's always change orders in the course of doing a project. The question is, are they change orders that are outside of the anticipated scope? I think Mary's could probably speak more
Yeah, I
detail
mean,
to that.
I think there was still right now, but they're very minor, like $2,000, $3,000, ones that, you know, they still need to submit to us for the valves, but there's nothing major, nothing, you know, beyond the contingency or, you know, that's
Yeah.
very minor. So far, everything is moving pretty good with no major stuff, and we just talked to him today, and he doesn't anticipate any major issues moving forward. Just gotta get it done.
I think of note, I mean, I wasn't at the last meeting, but maybe it was reported last meeting, we did have an issue with one of the pumps at the Maple Avenue well field. Was that reported on last?
Yeah, that
meeting?
was reported, yeah, that was all done, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can really have, that's notable.
Okay, thank you. Old business, capital projects summary.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go to my handout here. So again, we just talked about the Hoytsville Worcester Station, went out there today, so he's working on piping electrical. You can see some of the siding coming on the side. He's gonna be scheduling the work on the tank. He's ready to actually schedule backvac to actually clean out the sediment from the inside of the tank. He's gonna be doing that, and installing piping. Again, waiting for the revised schedule, which, you know, hope to have by the next meeting. We'll meet again with the revised schedule on that. Number two, going back to the Briarcliff Manor booster station design.
I was gonna ask you, you said a revised schedule. Where are we looking for, what's the anticipated completion date?
Well, we're looking to get a schedule back from them. The last time I talked to them was, you know, end of September. So they're confirming that right now, and, you know, I think, you know, by the next meeting, they're gonna give us, you know, an updated schedule and really.
Well, they were talking September 7th or 9th,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna meet that one
They're
either.
not gonna meet September 7 or 9. no.
So,
They're
you
gonna
know,
be there.
is there any delays in their contract? Any penalties for them not finishing here?
Well, we have liquidated damages all in the contract, but that's something that, you know, I mean, right now, I mean, they still have the funding in place, and, you know, let's maybe wait to see when we get for the revised schedule, and then, you know, decide, but they're moving forward, it's not gonna jeopardize the funding, the water's getting to the site, you know, the building's getting better and better. Once they put the building done, then they're gonna start working inside. People won't even notice, because everything on the outside will be done. We just have people working on the inside of the building, and the site's gonna look much, much better. So again, I requested a schedule, and, you know, the next meeting will provide an updated schedule.
So they're just doing the building now, primarily.
They're doing the building, and actually inside the building, they're doing piping. Inside, when you go down, they're actually putting, downstairs doing piping, electrical, all the electrical conduits are done inside the building. So they're actually working on the outside and also inside on the piping inside the basement, so, yeah. I looked today, I went down there, there's already, I think, one of the new pumps is there already, so they're starting, you know, putting the pumps in and everything else, so.
Do they put the iron work in for a hoist and all that?
Not yet, no, they're still working on that, so. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Did you have another question?
No, I was gonna ask the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, you know, because we really didn't see what the building looked like. In my personal opinion, I think it's a waste of money, some of the architectural features they put into this building that's gonna have a fence around it. No one's gonna see those, water tables that they made around the building and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an expensive, building, in my opinion. I don't think it was totally necessary.
Marius, let me ask you this, what about, when we had that on-site meeting, what's the schedule for taking the trees down, all of them?
Well, that's part of the, I think they were waiting to get a proposal to take the trees down, but we were going to incorporate that proposal into the change order because the state is gonna pay 25% grant. So I think they're still getting prices for that work that I'll be presenting to the
The
commission.
neighbors already, they're all in favor of it?
Yes, yep, the neighbors
One
all
on the back and
favor.
one on the side with that
Yes,
big.
yep, yep,
Maris, I think you have to push them.
okay.
You know, it's been a month since we had that meeting. You know, I think you really have to push them up there.
Okay,
And I had one other comment.
Sure.
They're running the lines to the generator. They ran them in the attic, and then they're coming down the outside of the building, so they're gonna have two-inch exposed conduits coming out of that beautiful building that they're building.
oh, on the side, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't put them underground, or run them down on the inside of the building and then one outside.
Yeah.
And then it's probably too late to change it now.
Or what they can do is they can probably put a little cover on the side of the building to match the siding, so it's not gonna be visible. Because they could just put a little,
Is that on the side that the siding's already up? Right?
Yep.
yeah, that's a nice side, we can see those two holes, but I think what's normally done, they could put a little cover on it to measure siding, so you won't really see those conduits. So, we can talk to them about it, bring it up, and make sure that they do a good job concealing those.
Are you back in town early or later this week?
I could be back in town, yeah. We can meet on site and talk about it. So the next item, the Briarcliff Manor Booster Station design. So I guess this is similar information from the last meeting. However, what I added in here, at the last meeting, I think Commission approved awarding the contract to Trubel Environmental, less the cost for the water services, because the Commission wanted to get additional prices from some local contractors to see what that's gonna cost. I believe Kelly requested prices from five local contractors. We only got a response from one. And his price, I put in the second bullet there, his price was $99,600 for that work. So it was a little bit less. However, the cost for the low bidder, which is $113.70, is gonna be a subject to 25% grant. So that price, $113.70, is gonna drop probably to, $75,000, $80,000, which will be less than the price provided by the local bidder. So I would recommend, if the commission like to move forward on, installing those services for those 7 properties, I would recommend to basically award it to True Blue, because they're gonna own the whole project, and, the price will be still less. It's the low bid price and even less from the local contractor. So we did our due diligence and, got 5, and everybody was very busy, and Kelly can speak to that.
There was only one that was interested in that, that's that BMP. And everyone I talked to, they didn't agree with the rock price, 150 a square yard. And BMP put 300 a square yard. I think it's basically because they're gonna have to bring something into a hammer. Actually, I think they wrote down at $300 per hour for the hammer. But I went to Tommy Kane, I went to Kenny Kruger, BMP. Kenny Kruger and BMP decided to work together. So they put a quote together. Pembroke felt that it was just too iffy. They didn't want anything to do with it. Plus, and again, they're all real busy. I mean, August, September, even October, whenever they're going to be doing, they're just real busy. And the other one I got was Connecticut Services out of Seymour, and no one was interested.
Okay. All right, you want a motion now?
Well, that's coming up on,
Okay.
yeah, that's coming up next on the.
Okay, so the next project, Doug already talked about it, so we are collecting our data. We'll be submitting a report to the DEP and DPH by end of this week or early next week. And then after that meeting, we're gonna start our, exploratory work, putting the new wells in and doing the pump test. So Doug already mentioned the Beach Street Water Main Replacement Project. So there was a site visit meeting last Monday. We walked with the contractor doing the punch list items, and he already knows what he has to address. He's got to work on the stone wall and the stream. Again, he only applied for 50% of his bill in the last meeting, so he still didn't charge it down for the entire thing. So we still have retainage and contingency to make sure that he's going to get that done.
If I may, I did get a bill from Burns on the 12th, up into the 12th. And I haven't even put it in because we got to get the punch list done first, but I did receive the bill. So if you see it predated, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, when they were crossing the brook, I had asked them to do a elevation. Are we getting any,
As-built?
As-built?
Yes, yeah, they're gonna give us as-built drawings, and
Okay,
we took
'cause
photos over there.
I
with
was
an iPhone,
concerned
so-
about the depth when they went across that brook.
Yeah, they're gonna give us as-built
Okay.
drawings, so. So that's it, my list.
All right, good. Any other questions? All right, moving on to item number 2, the Briarcliff bid award. So,
I'll make a motion that we approve the low bidder, True Blue Environmental for $814,892. And that includes the, services to the 7 individual homes. For reasons, that because of the grant money, it's cheaper to go that way rather than, having a second company do these services.
Second.
Marius, is that 814, 892 plus the 99.6?
No,
No,
It includes the 99, okay.
no, it includes the 113.
it includes the
Includes
113.
the 113, I'm sorry.
113.7, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the recommended bidder, True Blue Environmental. Any other discussion?
Just out of curiosity, what would be the timing on this project?
Well, we already talked to them, and, you know, by the consent order, the town is to get it completed by end of the year. You know, there's no problem with extending that date as long as the state sees the town's moving forward, but they told us if they get a notice to, notice to award, notice to proceed, by sometime in September, they should be able to finish it up by end of the year. So we already put them on notice that, the town is working very closely to award a contract, we still have to figure out the services, and that's what, we checked with them, make sure they can do it, and they said yes, so.
So when can they start?
Well, right now, we need to submit our recommendation letter to the state DPH, because now we know what the final number is, it's 814, and I think state already started reviewing some of the bid documents, so they're gonna review it pretty quickly, and, we're gonna award them as soon as we hear from the state, probably within the next 2 weeks, so we're gonna schedule contract signing, but they're already aware that the town wants to move forward on it, so.
Okay. Great, any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion on the floor to approve. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carries.
Meredith, just we can meet sometime during the week. I was concerned about that 8-inch main going up there,
Yeah.
so,
We can
look
clear
at that
it,
again,
yes.
but that would be a
Sure.
change order, and it would be less money.
We'll be in negative change, that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, moving on to old business item 3, the fats, oils, and grease RFP, and that has not been published yet. I think you guys all have your comments and questions submitted, right?
Yeah.
On the RFP, okay, so we'll move ahead with that, and we'll have information for you at the next meeting, when we'll get that published. Item
Do we
number,
have to have a public meeting on that, Marty?
What? It's only the RFP.
so we probably do after we,
Yeah, but after, to put it in effect, do we have to put it on?
Because those are state statutes, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
state regs.
yeah.
Not unless you put something different than.
What about fines and all of that?
That you probably would have to, because that was one of my questions. I didn't write that. That was one of my things, that, who's gonna set the fine structure? And the other thing that I thought was missing too, which I should have sent your email out, was who were they supposed to report to? I know that this flies across the health department, the building, and everybody, but there should be somebody that they have an immediate superior that they have to go to. I
Okay.
didn't see that there either.
We'll ask for that. I think in the towns we've looked at, it reports into utilities or public works.
Yeah, well, that's okay, I just.
Yeah, it just needs
But
clarification.
yeah, if we're gonna set fees, we need to have a public hearing.
Yeah, okay.
Well, question is, let me throw it to Kelly. Are you ready to set fees? Or do you have an idea of what some of the fees?
I would just compare it to other towns.
Yeah.
I mean, and Matt, I gave you Derby, so you could
Yeah.
see what they are. But as for, there's a whole section that has to be submitted to the town regarding the whole policy and the fines schedule that the town does have to accept. I don't know whether you have to do it through a town meeting or not, but there is a section in there. I mean, you're going to see more as these people come forward with what's needed, but I think there is some stuff involved.
Excuse me, did you already give us something like from Derby's,
I did.
Craig's? Okay, that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
remember. All
Yeah.
right, well, I'll take a look at
But is that based on a certain criteria, or are you just following what Derby is saying you're charging?
Well, actually, Weston and Sampson are the ones that developed the one for Derby. And I'm on the WPCA in Derby, and it did have to go before a public hearing before the town. I mean, nobody showed up, but you still have to put that hearing out there. And then I think it's accepted as an ordinance.
But what I'm getting at is what criteria do you use so it doesn't seem like it's just arbitrary?
What's
The
that?
fees and the fines. What criteria do you use so it doesn't look like it's just
Annual
arbitrary?
inspection rate,
You
somebody.
can't say, well, that's what the other town's doing, so that's what we did. We need
Well, it's
some
probably,
criteria.
Well, they are going to tell you if, excuse me, Matt,
Sure.
they are going to tell you if it's too high or too low. The state is going to tell you. Because Derby tried too high, and I know they had to cut it back. They were trying for too high of a fine. It's basically given us the power to say, hey, you've got to put in a 1,000-gallon storage tank, or whatever be the case. You have to have it pumped down periodically, and we need to come out once a year and see that, along with your records showing that being done. If you don't do it, that gives the town the position to fine. And it's like so much for the first offense, so much for the second offense, so much for not obliging what the ordinance says. I had seen a letter from a local restaurant in Derby where they kept putting it off. They started in 2011, kept on submitting letters saying, due to financial crisis, due to this, due to that. They kept on bumping it off. Now it's bumped off to the end of this year. But Derby started this back in 2011.
Could that go back to the health department, that they could pull their license for operating a restaurant if they don't adhere to the ordinance?
Yeah, but the health department won't stand behind it.
Well.
That's the only problem. And I'm not talking about our health department.
I don't.
I mean, the impacts operationally is that the sewer collection division needs to spend more effort treating and going after grease. So we have, operational costs. So in terms of fines, you could relate, as long as you're relating the fines to a true operational cost, then, those need to be in that order of that. So, like for instance, I mean, in our case, we have a lot of grease that's in our system that anybody contributing to that, we would need to take remedial activity, meaning cleaning so many sections of pipe. So, fortification
or the pump station,
the pump stations themselves, or all those stuff like that.
So that's what I like. I don't like things to be arbitrary.
No. The fines.
That's why, like a fee should be. It
There's
takes X number of hours.
Exactly, for inspection, and then okay, if you don't have that, you're causing us to incur, costs that we wouldn't otherwise have.
Even chemicals that's got to be put in there to eat up the grease, it can go toward that.
Or potential fines from the city of Danbury, because they're not too excited about us sending them grease. I mean, that's why they've reached out to us a number of times and are anxious to see our program, so.
If this is going to be done in the form of an ordinance, it's going to go to the board of selectmen.
Yeah, we're just trying to get a supplier on board to develop the program for us and kind of answer some of these questions too. I mean, I would think that we task them with coming up with a fee structure recommendation.
I did receive comments from Dino and Paul, so I guess I did respond to your comments. So what I can do is, first thing tomorrow morning, I can revise the RFP based on the comments. I can send it around to everybody tomorrow. And then for the last look, and maybe Marty, if you have some additional comments, I can incorporate that. Sure. And then I guess I can work with Doug and try to publish it as soon as possible. That's the way the commission would like to move. So I want to make sure we have comments from everybody. I don't know if, Marty looks like he had some additional comments. So
if the commission's okay, I would like, once that document's ready, I'm still need to get a hold of, need to meet with Kelly regarding our cross-connection program, because it would seem to be, we're going to be required to be on many of these sites anyways to do a cross-connection inspection. Cross-connection inspections are many times in places where a oil grease separator is required, so I'm not sure what, how best to handle that, what other towns are doing, but to have that document ready would be good though.
All right, thank you very much. Item number 4, water and sewer regulations, and Kelly, this is your most recent draft.
Now, I went through everything there, everything that we highlighted and changed. I put it all in the black type. Went through a lot of Dino's comments, made changes to wording. I did come up with something just to start off the bat on the back page in red, so everything in red there.
Yeah.
The Bethel Utilities Commission prohibits recreational use of any kind on utility-owned property and/or watershed. Any unauthorized parties or vehicles found on the property will be considered trespassing and will be prosecuted.
Okay.
That's just something to start with. I also found an old fee schedule that was posted. So if you look under residential, it's $200 application fee plus $500 per unit. That's what we get from everyone is $700 and that includes the inspection of the service, the meter and the horn, and all that's on the homeowner's dime, but this is the actual permit that, this is what we charge, so that's your fee schedule for a water service going in. Not to get off on another subject, but like Toll Brothers here, they give us a check for $1,250. There's $550 for the sewer connection, so, but that's separate than this, and then the $700. So that's what we charge. I've never really been involved in any of this non-residential, but this was a schedule that was put together. I actually think it was put by Andrew. So I put it in here, so if you're not comfortable with the amounts or the square footage as to how they do it, we can make adjustments. But if you see up to 2,000 square feet, it's 3,000, then it goes to 6,000. I apologize the way that came out, but 10 to 25 is 10,000, 25 to 50 is 15,000, and then over 50,000 square feet is 2,500.
25,000.
I'm sorry, 25,000. And then you go into cross connection. I left that open. I also left it open in the text. We need to come up with a fee. I know Pete has mentioned as high as $75 or $100. I've seen it range anytime I've gone online to check it. So I just left that as 0 per inspection per device. You get into some of these buildings, you may have 8 devices. So that's why I say per device. And then if it fails, it would be a reinspection cost. You could make it the same, or you could, you could make that a little less for the reinspection. That would totally be up to you. Right now, we pay one guy an extra $1 an hour in his hourly rate to do cross connections. There's about 186 units, I think, in Bethel. Does that sound right, Cap?
Yes,
186, 187. And then down below here, we've never had a mechanism to charge people after hours. So I'm figuring $50 an hour with time and a half. It's a 3-hour minimum according to the union contract. So for us to go out there, let's say you've got a flooding basement and I've got to have somebody go out there and shut the curb stop or do whatever to help them out, that would be a cost of $150. But again, these numbers can change. It's just this is a start. And if you look below that, when I asked you last month, mechanism of billing, I think it's basically just having a worksheet that the people will sign and do it in duplicate, and a copy would go to the tax collector, and they would bill out. Because I've never really thought there was a proper mechanism for billing, but I know you said that there is with one of the new programs. And then the last two things, I have approval of new construction from the PUC. We always stated that the PUC basically says, yes, we have water, no, we don't have water, and then people proceed. So I think I just have to put some kind of language together from that. But if that's the way the PUC wants to make it, as yes, we have water, no, we don't, then that's how we leave it. I would think that's really at the beginning state, and it's already spelled out how they have to go for a permit, how they have to meet our standards, installing copper to the curb stop, plastic after the curb stop, meter pits, whatever it be. That's already laid out in the text. And I've also yes, and I've already done the half-ass picture so people can look at the diagram and see it. I don't think we need to put it in the policy and procedures, but I think it would be good to have up in Kathy and Doug's office so that people can look at it and just see what we're looking for. But this is for your reading ability. I'm sure that we can probably within the month be able to act on it. Dino, there's a lot of things I made notes on what you gave me, and if you want to sit down and go into it a little more, I just think there's some things that need to be in here, some things don't. Like maybe even our rate schedule, maybe that doesn't need to be in here. But on the other hand, if it's in here, we've already made it known that we can change this at any time at any regular PUC meeting. Meaning the amounts. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at.
The fee schedule, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm
Just put a
one
disclaimer
place or the
that
other,
subject
not
to change.
two places.
Yeah. And there was, the other thing was preferred contractors. That was one of your major questions. The way I come up with a preferred contractor, number one, if they can do a direct tap, which that means saddling and anybody can core into a main, I want direct tap, unless it's transite main or if it's 4-inch main. Everything else I want direct tapped. It just, I feel that's one less item to leak. There's only certain contractors that can do it. A lot of times, what a lot of the contractors will do, they'll call somebody like Superior or one of the other companies, and they'll come out and do the taps. But the list that I have are just contractors that I know. We know that they're bonded. Yearly, they'll send a bond in. We have them on record. But whenever a customer asks me, who would you recommend? I always give them at least 3 people. I will not recommend one person. So that's how I get over around that. Kathy has a list in her office that they can hand to the people. Actually, I have one for the sewer stuff here, even though that's not what we're talking about.
Well, I think that's what you want. You want a list.
Yeah.
You don't want, oh, well, Kelly told me I had to go to so-and-so.
Yeah, no, and my guys don't do that either,
And having a criteria for how you get on the list.
Yeah.
Keeps people from saying, oh, no, Bethel, oh.
Yeah.
If you don't like Kelly, you don't get on the list.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
There needs to be a
That's not the
criteria
way
for
it is.
them to
And all the
measure.
area contractors know that. They know I want direct tap. They know who to call.
Well, but that's what needs to be defined is
Do you have a
how
criteria?
you get on that list.
Pardon me?
Do you have a criteria for putting those people?
Do
on
I have
the
anything in writing? No, but
list? I think you better put one together.
That's
okay.
what I'm saying.
Because, anybody with a license could be able to come in and make a big stink over the fact that
Okay,
they should be able to do it, so you have to have something they can point to.
okay. So you think there should be a clause right in the rules and regs saying this is how you meet the criteria to be on our repair list?
I think you don't necessarily do that. I think what you need, though, you can put in there that whatever your
That
title
there is-
is, that there's a criteria list that can be obtained in the Public Utilities Office in order to comply
Right.
with being on the list.
Understood.
Just one other thing, where did you say, and I'm sorry I missed it, where did you say you got the numbers for the non-residential application fees?
That was something that was actually in the office that I think Andrew worked on. Andrew and Tracy at the time. We never got into big non-residential stuff, and I always referred that to Andrew as to pick the price. But this was a document that I found in there. I don't know whether the numbers are too high, whether they're too low, but that's what we would have to set the numbers.
The only reason why I bring it up is, I know Matt's aware of this, and maybe Rich, and maybe Paul, but the EDC is working on a regulation in order to have commercial construction in town. What they're doing is they're trying to do a new ordinance to deal with, when a new building goes up, to freeze the assessment for a couple of years, depending on the cost of the construction, for the benefit of the town. And something like this, that's, $25,000, I don't know if it's high or not either, but it seems like it might be at cross purposes. We're over here saying we're gonna give you a tax break for a couple of years, and we're taking it away over here because you wanna use water there.
Yeah.
That's all, and that's more for the commission to think about than anybody else.
But that's where I am with the rules and regs, and
Well, so there's a couple more things we need to
I
add to
think
it
so.
then before
I
we,
think so.
okay, so,
And more than anything, I'd like Marty to look it over,
Sure.
and
Okay.
of course, Doug.
okay, all right, so
Okay.
we'll look forward to another draft, next meeting, okay, good. So that brings us to supervisor's report, so floor is still yours.
Okay, if you notice, they've paved a couple of the streets in town. We've put risers on boxes, making sure boxes are up to grade so we can get to the valves. We've had a guy out there working along with Bobby's crew, just making sure they don't get missed. Right now, they're over on Water Horse and Topstone, and just like I say, making sure everything's exposed. As for the sewer side, we've got, actually still on the water side, right now Chestnut Ridge is making between 17 or 18,000 gallons a day up to about 30 gallons a day. And that's because of what we're pumping from the well side through the South Street pump station. So we're really getting our well water into the system, which is a plus. So
Well,
we're actually thinking that come wintertime, when the usage is down, that plant may not even go on a daily basis. We may have to schedule it so it goes on once a week just to make sure we're making water.
Okay.
And the state, I think, would require us to do that. As for the sewer side, our water side, we still had a couple service leaks. Those have been repaired. One was up in Plum Trees Heights, which is private. They made repairs in there. We had a service leak on 53 that the homeowner repaired. But pretty much, as far as we know, our system's pretty tight. Again, on Beach Street, we had a punch list, went over with the punch list. I did, as I said before, I do have a bill, but I'm not even submitting it until I know the punch list is done. The well is talking very well to the tank. They finally got him speaking a little bit better. So that tank is, it's bouncing back and forth at about 3 feet, which is getting a lot of that water turned over within less than a week, getting into our system. So Eddie's real pleased with what's happening there. Sewer side, I've already, we looked at the specs, Kovac looked at the specs for the 2 grinders going into Paul Street, and that's been okayed, and the grinders are being made. So we hope to see them in the next month or so. But that's where we're at.
How about Prospect and Grandview?
Prospect, they are scheduled to start next Monday. As long as I can get the class 54 pipe in by then, but that's supposed to start next Monday. I don't see that being more than a week job. If I think a week is a long time to get that little section of Prospect done.
Was there rock up there?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. And Grandview, we're having a little difficulty trying to get that marked. It's just the machines have been jumping all over the place, but we are actively. I really want to get that 2-inch the hell out of it as soon as possible.
And you gotta dig some test pits to find
We're
stuff?
probably gonna have to do test pits. What I really think we need to do is a controlled shutdown. Shut down the 2, walk up and down the street on a Saturday morning and find out who doesn't have water. I really think that's the only way to do it.
Is that for watering, just so I know when I write my notes?
Which
On
one?
Prospect and Grandview.
Yes,
for
yes, that's
watering.
water main, 8-inch water main. And as for the solids, we're doing good. Yes, you know, we're putting chemicals in there to heat up the solids. We're keeping an eye on everything, and we're in good shape.
Maplewood's behaving?
Yeah. No, we haven't had any problems up there at number 1, Stony Hill number 1. So
What about Draper's property? Are we all set up with them?
he's all done. He's all done with money from us. Now, from what I understand, it's all between planning and zoning or inland wetland, basically with Beth. But as far as we're concerned, we're all set. The hydrant is live, the
We
water's live.
provided him the materials that we agreed to.
Okay,
Yes, and
I've got to excuse myself, so if you
Okay.
can just adjourn me when you guys are done, because I have kind of an urgent matter I have to attend to. Sorry.
Alright.
So, exiting.
Got it.
yeah, I mean, I last month I gave you a list of the breakdown of the $50,000.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of pipe left there. I gave him a credit on the pipe because I'm gonna take it and use it over on Prospect. But other than that, we're out of that.
Okay.
And that's really it.
Anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Really bad state.
I know, like, one more minute.
He must have feel like an issue. So it was on there, so it's easier to track. And perhaps
Good job.
cumulative.